and that's how it went. So I said I ain't look up for that.
Hey, Blue Cakes, it's your favorite girl, April Watts. Welcome to another edition of Ego. It's the podcast about opinions. It stands for Everybody's Got One. I've got my opinion, you've got yours, and my wonderful guest panelists definitely have theirs. So I'm going to get into introducing everybody. We have, oh my goodness, oh my God, how did I do this? We have, let me look here. We have Alee Opuiyo.
Yes.
Alee Opuiyo.
Yes.
We have Larry Lancaster, we have my girl Tiana Douglas, and joining us on Zoom, we have my girl Paula Campbell. So what I want to do is just go in order, and I want you to tell everybody who you are, what you do, and what you've been up to. Starting with my girl Alee Opuiyo. I had to get that name right.
Hi everybody, my name is Alee Opuiyo. I am the owner of Dynamic Public Relations, a public relations firm based in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area.
All right now.
Hey everyone, my name is Larry Lancaster. I'm a stand-up comedian and radio show host.
My name is Tiana Douglas. I am also a stand-up comedian, and I just been traveling around trying to get back to work after COVID.
Girl, okay.
Grinding.
Okay.
Grinding. I have. Tired too.
My girl Paula.
Hey, I'm Paula Campbell, singer, songwriter, actress, and author, First Lady of Be More.
Your book, what's the name of your book, mama?
The book is If He Wanted to Be There, He Would. The subtitle is 6 Steps to Push Past the Breakup. And it's really about finding self-love or having self-love, healing after a breakup. And really, ladies, we have to really take some responsibility and kind of looking over those red flags that we kind of pass up on in the beginning, and then blaming the man for being exactly who he showed us what he was in the end.
Thank you,
I like
Paula.
it. I really like that. So I'm going to have to get that book. I think I need to read a couple of chapters of that thing right there.
As the only man on the panel, I appreciate that.
So we
You know what? I've been getting a lot of good feedback from men. Like a lot of great feedback from men. They thought it was a male bashing book just because of the title. If he wanted to be there, he would. But it's really about, hey girl, like he showed you, or he told you he wasn't looking for a relationship, and you thought whatever you was doing was going to change his mind, and he showed you in the end you wasted 3 years or 4 years of your life, and he was who he said he was.
He was the only one consistent in the relationship.
He was the only one consistent.
You the one switched up.
So today we are here though to talk about cancel culture. And I want to start with the working definition, because a lot of times people have full-on conversations, but they're working with different definitions and wires get crossed and the understanding isn't really understood. So according to dictionary.com, cancel culture refers to the popular practice of withdrawing support or canceling public figures and companies after they have done or said something considered to be objectionable or offensive. So we are operating with the same definition. And the origin seems to be from, like everything else, from black people, from black Twitter. So I want to first look at what the hell is black Twitter? Where did they come from? What are your thoughts?
I still don't know what black Twitter is. Like, is it Twitter only for black people? Like, I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard the term, but I don't even know. Is that what it is, Paula?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I actually think it encompasses basically all black social media, or the people who find, like, I think it would be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all of that.
But like, who the hell are these people? Because sometimes I'm reading things, or I'm seeing that black Twitter says this, or black Twitter says that. Black Twitter canceled that person, and I don't feel that way. So I'm like, am I not a part of black Twitter because I feel differently? Like, who the hell are these people?
I think it's it's like the equivalent to the white they or the man.
Okay,
so now
the man.
We have a they.
It's a black
which
man.
is black Twitter, right? So when they say, man, you know they did this and they did that, most black people kind of understand who you mean, even though we really don't know specifically who you mean.
Right.
So I guess it's the same thing with black Twitter.
But when black Twitter speaks, people
It's
listen.
kind of like the masses more so. It's like we kind of set the precedence for everything.
Right.
I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
And so it's kind of like, that's that swag of like, this is what the blacks say, and this is who has to go and who gets to stay. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
That's what I would say that black people run all social media.
We drive culture, period.
Yeah, I was about to say that with our culture,
Absolutely.
how swaggy we are, our comedy, Like our presence is more known than white people. So when you say Black Twitter, I guess it just means Black social media because we are the majority that's on there that's entertaining. So you go with the majority. It's literally like Instagram. You have followers and then you're following. But if you ever notice, most people that are popular or social media influencers have a larger following because this world is full of followers.
We set memorable trends.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that's what resonates.
It's just
And
really
that's what people make reference
a
to.
collective response.
That's good.
Exactly.
You know,
Okay.
from
I
black
like that,
people, it's a
Larry.
collective response.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
a collective. Ooh, Larry. Okay, I see you.
I like
see you.
Yeah.
Okay, so even though cancel culture was started by Black Twitter, just as much of what Black people do, it becomes kind of like pop culture. And so
Definitely,
now
yes.
cancel culture is just an internet
Right.
culture. You have people just canceling people, and it's not necessarily Black people saying, oh, you're canceled. It's also white people saying, Nick Cannon, you're canceled. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
now cancel culture is just a general culture that seems to exist on social media.
I think it always existed, but like everything else, we do a great job of labeling or packaging something. So, and so then it seems like we invented it, but there were a lot of athletes, like I can go back as far as Jack Johnson, who was canceled because he dated white women, or an Alee, who was canceled by a lot of people who supported him because he ran his mouth. He was brash, he was braggadocious, and then when
He
he
was brazen,
refused to enlist in the military, a lot of people canceled him for that. So it's not something that's new, it's just something that's packaged and we got a name for it now.
But my question is, how effective is canceling culture?
That's what I
How
wanted to
effective?
say.
It's very effective.
I think it's very effective,
Okay.
and I was actually, because I believe that it is effective, I was going to ask you guys, what do you think about the real life implications of it? Because you have people who are sitting behind their phones, sitting behind their keyboards, like, okay, you know what? We're going to cancel Nick Cannon. We're going to cancel Ellen. We're going to cancel this person, that person, that person. And it literally has real life implications. You are gutting a person. You are bleeding them dry. You are not only damaging their reputation, but you are cutting off their ability to make money and
Let
to
me
feed
see.
their families and their children.
Because you've been canceled.
Yeah, that's what I was
via
about- but-
social media.
But what I realized,
That's deep.
right? If you really think about it, when you are canceled, Black people forgive easily. It's only when the white person cancel you that you are really canceled. Because let's go back to the Nick Cannon. They canceled all his shows. White people who are in charge are the head of it, right? Let's just say, with Black people, you are canceled today. All right, you came up with something else cool tomorrow. I like you again because I was just mad at you for the second, but I forgive you. But when white people cancel your money, that's when you're really truly canceled. Because Black people will support you, they'll share your stuff, but they don't cancel your money. I mean, they pay to come to stuff, but at the end of the day, like your deals, your whatever you have going on, your contracts, when that's canceled, then you're really canceled.
I think it's a
That's
distinction.
why Kanye keeps coming back.
Right.
Yes.
Because he
But-
could, like
Canceled every day.
he could piss Black people off, and then he'll do something else that they like, and then they're like, "Oh, I love Kanye again," but he hasn't done anything that really pisses off the white man. Where it's
Right.
just like, "Oh, we're
Well,
figuring
well-
out how to cancel Kanye."
Well, here's the difference between the Nick Cannon thing and the Kanye thing. Black people generally cancel people from the standpoint of a consumer. So then when we don't support it monetarily,
right.
that's a certain type, that's power. But what Nick Cannon did was he got canceled by the actual power structure in entertainment.
That's
So
a
that's a
difference.
difference.
That's a difference.
He didn't get
That's-
canceled by
that's huge
consumers.
Right.
He said what he said about the Jewish community who basically run entertainment.
Yep.
Jewish run media. They run everything you see, read, hear, and all of that.
You
Radio,
talked about the
print.
wrong group.
Right.
I was about to
And
say,
so-
like,
Sorry, Nick.
And so I had mixed feelings about what he said for this reason. I don't necessarily know if it was wrong about what he said, but the thing is, once you say something like that, you have to be sure and understand what the consequences are going to be, and then be willing to stand by it.
Right. Which you didn't think
So,
about.
so for Nick Cannon, it's not like he's living check to check. He's a
not.
100-something millionaire.
Right.
So if you get canceled by the Jewish community, which is the mainstream
Which is the entertainment industry,
right?
yeah.
So he still could have sustained himself but he didn't want to lose that mainstream success that he had.
But let's talk about Colin Kaepernick then, because he was canceled, quote unquote, right?
Well, again,
So
he was canceled by a power structure.
That's what I was about to say.
Right.
He was also, which goes back to what I said about
Colin Kaepernick was canceled in football, but he was not canceled. He probably made more money after being blackballed by the NFL. He got an endorsement deal with Nike. He got a book deal.
I want Nike
he
stock.
got like a television deal with Ava DuVernay.
But they
so
did
like
cancel him.
he is balling. So
Yeah.
he wasn't canceled.
Yeah, he got canceled
was
by the
blocked
NFL
by the
power
NFL.
structure.
Right.
But he wasn't canceled, and he probably came out better.
He leveraged it.
Yeah,
I think
he
so.
did leverage it.
But
I mean,
that was what I'm saying
he got
about
lucky,
the
though.
cancel
He got lucky.
culture. When
Why
I say
do
that
you
the people
attribute
that
it to
are
luck?
at the head of it, right?
What you mean?
Those are the people that have the power, which
How
means
he
they
was
have the money and they have your endorsements, right? But then you have your people, if your people stand by you, let's just say the black people, the black Twitter or social media, that's going to stand by you and push you and other people to pick you up. But you always have a side that may cancel you. But if you have true fans and or supporters, because it's a difference between fans and supporters, they're going to support you until you get back to the top. Because what you stood for or what you said, they stood by you and they believed in that.
But see, I don't think Colin Kaepernick was canceled. I think he was blackballed. I think canceling is
What's the
done.
difference between blackballed and canceled? Let's talk about it.
Blackballed is being it's localized. So he was blackballed by that
To your
particular
industry.
Canceling
Okay.
is we don't
Yeah.
fuck with you. Don't nobody fuck with you.
You're right.
You done. You can't make money. You can't show your face. You not invited to the cookout. You not
Right.
invited to the party.
Okay.
You are just done. And because he is still a name, because he is still a face, he was still getting invited to award shows. He still has friends.
He does.
When you get canceled, you don't have no friends.
But that's for 3 seconds or 2 days. I
Not
swear
all
to
the
you.
time.
Not
And
all the time.
First of all, the
Situation.
damage of the cancellation depends on, first of all, what segment of the group cancels you, how long they do it and sustain it, and what's the economic impact of them canceling.
Right.
Okay.
So with the football thing, he basically got blackballed, as you said,
Yeah.
by the NFL power structure. Luckily, most of the people outside the NFL didn't, aside from the white fan base,
Right.
the other
The white
support-
racist fan base.
Right, but a lot of them don't consider themselves racist.
Okay.
They had their own explanations and justifications for why they said what they said or didn't support it. But because the funny thing about that is racists don't even like to consider themselves racist most of the time. They
Right.
don't even understand that behavior. That's what it is. That's why it's so hard to combat it, because most people, if they understand something is wrong, they're more likely to change. If you don't think nothing's wrong with the way you're thinking,
you're not gonna change
You're not
it.
going to change it. So with Colin Kaepernick, he lucked up, and here's why I say he
Yeah,
got lucky.
I was wondering why you used that term luck.
A lot of times when you get fired from your job as an athlete, that's it. You can't really operate outside of that. There are some people who can and can sustain themselves because they have
Other skills.
multiple interests and multiple talents. His talent really was the fact that we understood where he was coming from and we rolled with him, so the black people stuck with him. Then Nike, understanding who their demographic is and a lot of their fan base, a
Capitalized.
lot of black athletes,
Yes, they did.
a lot of
Exactly what they
urban, kids, and Nike presents themselves like, even though they're like the establishment, they still promote and market as if they're the renegade.
Right.
The way they
It's very
promote.
smart.
Right.
Smart.
So
It's
that was a
incredibly
smart,
smart.
right. So they took that and flipped it like, look, we ain't with these white people. You understand what I'm saying?
We're good white
We,
folks.
right. So you look at how they always campaign. It was just do it, and
Right.
Yeah,
their
right,
marketing
right,
campaigns
right,
and
right,
everything
right,
was
right.
always brash and aggressive.
Yes.
So it fit that Nike will pick them up versus somebody like a New Balance
Yes.
who
yeah.
supports
Very
Trump.
conservative,
right.
yes.
Right, conservative.
You hear
owner.
that, DC,
and a lot of
right?
times you don't understand that a company's politics until the owners do something.
Right.
And then that's when we cancel them. Because a lot of people say, okay, a barista couldn't wear Black Lives Matter
Right.
face mask in Starbucks because the owner said we ain't playing that shit. So then we like, well,
Wait a
fuck a
minute.
latte. I go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
So what
Dunkin'
happened?
Donuts lattes are bomb as hell, though. I ain't even gonna lie. Dunkin' Donuts coffee is good.
And that's the beauty of social media, because years ago, we didn't have access to this type of politics or what they were thinking or how they felt politically. A lot of our favorite actors, we found out later, were racist or had racist views, like Charlton Heston and different people like that. And so with social media, it makes the world so much smaller, and we're in a 24-hour information age. So all of this stuff, you have access to it, and it informs your decisions.
So let's talk about the people that have been canceled repeatedly then, meaning we canceled you once.
Like a Kanye.
Yeah, a month passed, you're canceled again, and then we accept you, and then you're canceled again. So what is that then?
Is it really canceled?
Black people have a heart, like we have a soul, and I think that whole forgiveness factor that we have, and I really don't, like, I don't know if I'm saying this wrong, I don't think that a lot of white people just have that forgiveness kind of factor. It's like, if we're done, if you are affecting our money, if you're affecting our politics, if you're affecting our way, then we're done with you. Where black people's like, oh, no, he said he was sorry, and then he said, then he did another Jesus song, and now he got all of the choirs out.
We don't hold grudges.
Another Jesus song. Another Jesus song.
And it gets sucked right back into the same thing to be hoodwinked all over again.
But I think we are emotionally gullible people because of how we have been conditioned through slavery using religion as a tool. And that is not an anti-Christian comment. It just is what it is. Christianity has been used to subdue and control black people. And so certain values have been instilled in us by people that don't even have that value system. So we have been taught to be meek. We have been taught to be humble, which is why one of the reasons why my show is called Ego. We have also been told to be forgiving in the face of everything, in the face of anything. You know, people say turn the other cheek, but even looking at our government structure, we don't turn the other cheek. We go to war and we eliminate our enemies. So why the hell should I turn the other cheek when you go to war?
Well, I think that's a good point, April. But I'm gonna make another distinction with I think we were talking about Kanye, right?
Yeah.
Black people will cancel you, and we can cancel you permanently. And first of all, it depends on what you did.
What you did,
yes. And it depends on what your intentions were when you did it. If we believe you. I think Kanye is different.
He gets a pass because he's crazy.
Well, a lot of people think, they don't really think Kanye is mean-spirited and that his intention is to do harm to the black community.
He's mentally
ill. I think Kanye is a complex person. People can understand his brilliance.
Slavery is a choice, is enough.
Honey,
right.
Paula,
thank you for this. Thank you, Paula. Thank you.
I'm not.
Take it back.
I'm not.
You can actually be wholeheartedly sorry, and I'm cool with that. But because I come from a family where I can say my great-great-grandmother was a slave and my grandfathers were slaves, and that I got record of my grandfather coming over but not getting off the boat. Damn, that is nothing you can say. If slavery was a choice, where is my grandfather?
We're not debating what he said. That's not the point. The point is,
why was he so easily accepted?
Right, people forgave him for that. But on the flip side, we won't forgive Omarosa. She can't come back. We'll never forgive Candace Parker.
What about
she can't come back. Candace Owens. I got to mix up with the basketball. Right. We'll never forgive a Candace Owens. We'll never forgive a Ward Connolly. We'll never forgive.
What about Terry Crews?
I think he's done. I think he's done.
He needs to be just like.
I think he's done. Right, Diamond and Silk.
But hold on, this is.
Clarence Thomas.
If they come back a certain way, I think that black people will forgive them. Be like, you know what? Oh, Candace Owens, she was brainwashed. We always have an excuse to accept. Not that you shouldn't be forgiving, like we want to be forgiven just like we should forgive. Right. At the end of the day, you don't have to give people the opportunity to do the same things to you over and over. And I think that's what Kanye. Like, come on, Bill Cosby's in jail, but we're like, why is Bill Cosby in jail?
But that's a real question.
He was raping people. He was drugging and raping people.
Murder, but we wanted OJ to get off, right? Like, black people choose and pick. And they pick the time.
Which leads
right, that was my point.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that though. Paula. Like, what is the criteria for being canceled?
When does it become inappropriate?
Exactly.
This is a real question I want to say because I love Gucci, right? I love Gucci. Gucci was canceled. I bought a lot of Gucci stuff. I still wanted to wear it. Every time I posted something, they was like, "It's canceled." That's all I seen on cancel. They were canceled for blackface, right? But then a couple months passed, everybody was
rocking
wearing Gucci
Gucci
again.
again.
So it's like, come on, like, what are we going for?
It's-
What are you really caring for?
I liken it to
What is the criteria? And like honestly,
What you gotta do to us?
I'm looking
Tell
for
us all.
answers for that. Like I want us right now to sit back and figure out what the criteria is or should be, because there definitely needs to be some structure to this, and it needs to be some rules, because people out here willy-nilly,
Canceling
and
folks
it's just
left and right.
crazy.
It's like a relationship. The same way people forgive you, like it depends on who the person is, how much you love them. Do you think they're sincere? How much bullshit you willing to take from them? What else can they offer you after they fucked up? So it's just
What
like,
is unforgivable
like,
though?
there's
Because certain things gotta be unforgivable.
I'm sure there's a guy you've dated that done some bullshit, and then another guy could do one thing that's not even that egregious, and you like, I'm done with
But
him.
that's because I ain't like him anyway.
Right, but that's what. But that's what. So it depends on a lot of different circumstances.
I want to go back to what April said real quick, because I think this is very important. When you were speaking about black people and us, you know, being so forgiving, and because of back in the day and they used religion, you have to understand this, and I hate to take it here, I swear I don't want to, but back in the day as slaves, our people were beaten and killed, hung, all of that stuff. But you still had to go back and work for that master the next day. Your babies were taken. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we went through a lot of stuff, but we had to endure that pain, and we had to forgive to move on. Otherwise, we suffer and die ourselves internally. So I'm saying that to say, as black people who are the people of Black Twitter and social media, we have been brought up to be so forgiving to things that happen to us, because life goes on. We have a higher power, and this is not going to determine who we are, or whatever the case may be.
Can I say something, sweetie? I think that's a bit of a stretch.
I think it is.
It is, but
because
it's not.
I think
I
it
hear
was
what
black
you're
people who
saying.
was like,
But
oh,
it's
hell no,
not
I'm not mad.
No, so this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
It's a
But you
bit
have
of
to
a
go
stretch.
back, right? Because listen, a lot of white people might hate black people, but a lot of black people don't hate white people. We never did anything to them. They did something to us. So when you go back to what you said earlier, right? We had to be forgiving people. Since we're the Black Twitter and the people that cancel people, we're just forgiving
But we're not the only people who cancel.
Here is my
We're
thing.
not the majority.
And I want to get back to the topic, but I do have to say
which
this.
is cancel culture.
Which is cancel
Because I
culture,
think
right.
we're
But no, it's
talking
not.
about,
But I do.
Kind of like we're moving in a way that's not.
That
there,
is
like,
not right.
No.
Like, for instance, cancel culture in a relationship, in my opinion, like, is completely different.
Which is
because the
right.
canceling culture is not about one-on-one relationship. It's about a masses.
Exactly.
But back to April's
that
question about.
they either deal with
But-
it or they don't, and they can all have way different reasons. They ain't like that. They ain't like the way you apologize, or you apologize and they didn't think it was sincere. You never apologize. You know what? I just don't like that you served the white man this way, or I don't like that you wore a trunk hat. Like, different people for different reasons.
But that was my point, Paula. We're actually agreeing with each other.
I don't deal with this person, but I don't think that you can really relate.
And that is
to
the
a
difference.
relationship.
Like you have to understand that there is a difference between forgiveness and relationship. Forgiveness, I can forgive you and not fuck with you for the rest of my life.
Right.
I have family members that I don't fuck with for that very reason, okay? Because what you did, look at Paula like, yes, because what you did is who you are in certain instances. Certain things, like, I can forgive mistakes, I can forgive miscommunication, I can forgive misunderstanding and still have a relationship with you. But when something is a fundamental character issue, I can't rock with you no more. I can love you, but I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to see you. I don't have to kick it with you.
So you can still follow that page, but not support their event.
Here's what I meant by what I said. First of all, it was an analogy. First of all, it was an analogy.
It wasn't good, Larry.
It was one. I think y'all getting.
Thank you, Paula.
No, listen, y'all getting personal about it. The point is, it depends on what the person, who the person is, and what your relationship is with that person. That's why certain people can get canceled for certain things over and over again, and they come back. And then certain people, they do something one time, and that's it. So you had to consider all those.
Who's ever been canceled
But
forever?
back to your
Who's
point.
I just
about
named
what
them.
the
I
criteria-
named about 6 people.
Break, hold up. We have reached the halfway point of the show. So at this time, I would like to acknowledge our sponsor. A very, very big thank you to Safari Nightclub. They are our amazing sponsor. They are allowing us to do this podcast every single week from their beautiful VIP room. I call it the mafia room because it looks so boss.
Yes,
like
yes,
this
this
room
is
is so gangster.
Very
So
nice.
thank you so very much to Jimmy T and the entire Safari staff. Thank you to the Baltimore Comedy Factory. They bring world-class comedians to Baltimore each and every week. And when the world opens back up, which will be soon, I need you to support those who support us. Support Safari Nightclub, support the Baltimore Comedy Factory, and you will see me back here again for Sexy Saturdays because we're not gonna stop, all right? We're just gonna keep on rocking. Also, if you are looking at my amazing poppin' red lipstick, it is Ego. That is my new lipstick line. So yes, it's a podcast, but it's also a lipstick line. I have 11 amazing colors. 4 of them are glosses, the rest are matte. This is such a big ego because it looks like a Beyonce red, right? It's that deep red, you know? It's for a woman with confidence who feels good about herself, who can walk into any room and command attention. She doesn't seek attention, she commands it. So if that sounds like you, I want you to go to bcnapparel.com right now and check out all of the different shades. We sold out of about 5 of them, but there's still something left for you, okay? And the motto is every ego has a color. You just have to figure out which one is yours. I've got something for you, boo cakes. Also, we do have Aura by April bracelets. Yes, they are custom made and handmade by me. And we have a new fall line out. So go to bcnapparel.com. We are back once again talking about cancel culture with my amazing guest. We have Paula Campbell, who is joining us in Atlanta. Thank you so much for taking the time, sis. I know you're busy and you have so much going on with your career. Thank you for pausing for us. The beautiful comedian, so funny, so talented, Tiana Douglas, the hilarious, the intellectual Larry Lancaster, and this public relations boss right here, my girl, and I'm sorry, this name is not sticking with me, Alee Opuiyo. Alee Opuiyo.
Yeah, round of applause.
Get the name, all right? It's very important to me to get people's names right, so I don't care how many times I have to say it, I'm going to get it right, sis. Alee Opuiyo.
Thank you.
Very, very beautiful name. All right, so we are...
Actually, a really dope name.
It is a dope
Yeah, it
name,
is.
right?
I think of the appeals court when I think about it. I had to file an appeal a couple times.
All right, so I definitely want to get back on track. We are talking about cancel culture, and I'm going to go back to this question, and I'm going to get some answers, okay?
Right.
We really need to answer, like, what is the criteria for being canceled? Not what the objections are, not who gets away with it. What should be? Because right now we don't really have any criteria. What should be the criteria for just completely being canceled?
When an entity does something so egregious, it offends the masses.
Okay.
To me, that's criteria to cancel that.
Who is the
particular-
masses?
The public.
Yeah, that could
The
be.
public.
It could be.
But this
different
is what I'll
segments.
say. But this is what I'll say.
Whether
you
they-
have so
whether
many
they black,
different
white, or whoever.
cultures, religions, races. So somebody's always going to support you depending on what that thing is that you did.
And that's fine, but that particular entity probably offended a sector of people. So if they have people to support them, then that's fine.
Right.
But they did something to offend folks to be canceled, excuse me.
Right.
To me, I
That's-
think
that's
certain
criteria.
things are just unacceptable. It's a hard stop at molestation.
Right.
It's a
Yes.
hard stop
Yes.
at using power to take advantage of
Manipulate.
minors who might not be little children, but they're still too young according to the law. Okay,
I agree.
It's a hard stop at hate. Like, I do not understand how anyone, no matter his policies, no matter who he's helped by being in office or whatever, I don't see how anyone can support Trump and his hate rhetoric, because just his existence, just his rhetoric, just his being in the presidency has just like put our country in a certain racial climate that is very, very dangerous.
But he
And,
hasn't been
to me,
He hasn't been impeached yet.
but he should be canceled.
He's very toxic.
He
Because
should absolutely be canceled.
I draw the line at hate. So it's certain things that are debatable, but it's certain things that should be hard stops.
Right. I agree.
I agree.
Now,
I concur.
when it comes to cancel culture, the real question, the harder the question that I want to ask is, has it gone too far? Because sometimes you have people just get on something with this mob mentality, with this sheep or herd mentality. You didn't even, for example, the Netflix movie Cutie. It's a French film, and it is about this young Muslim girl who comes from a very traditional conservative family. She's probably in that tween age, like about to become a teenager or what have you, and she starts at a new school. She wants to join this dance group, and of course the dances of today are sexually suggestive dances. She's twerking and doing all these things or whatever. These are young girls who are coming of age. And when I saw the film was very realistic, and it actually made a social commentary against young girls growing up too fast, against sexualization of children, against imagery just being constantly bombarded to these children. And it made some other very important commentary as well about just like women and religion and things of that nature. But there is a petition of over 600,000 people that want to cancel Netflix. It's a hashtag. You can look it up. They want to cancel
I read about it.
Netflix because they are airing this film. And Netflix is standing behind their decision to air this film, and they should.
What is she wearing?
Little stuff that little tween girls wear right now. Little
But she's
crop
twerking.
tops.
She's twerking in the clip, right?
But
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
is it
I saw the clip.
sexualized? And this is what I'll say. I mean, of course, we live in today. We're not like way back in the day, church skirts and stuff like that. You want to be a part of what's going on, whatever is trending and stuff like that. But also, I believe that these days we make our kids are growing up sooner than they need to be because of social media too. And what's being aired on TV, they are getting more information than we ever got. And so, hence, they are way ahead of their time. So if they're trying to cancel it because she has on certain things that's showing too much or exploiting
But
her
I think
as a
context
16-year
matters, and like that was the point of the film. Like they didn't show it just to show it. They showed it within the context of the impact that it has, and making a social commentary that it's too much too soon.
And that's
that
what I
it's
was going to
wrong.
say. I was going to say,
Yeah.
because what you have to realize is that it's a lot of people in life that grow up too soon. They don't have parents. They're homeless, or their parents suffer from substance abuse. And although we feel like this is too much, this is somebody's life.
This is
I
real.
have to say that I've experienced that growing up too soon and being out there too soon. So that's why I'm saying, what did they have a problem with? Because at the end of the day, this is somebody's story. They may have gotten it from somewhere, or you know what I mean?
I'm willing
They
to bet
had
you most people who objected to it never even watched the whole thing.
Exactly.
They saw
Yeah.
something, they got an immediate reaction to it, and
Which
was like,
circles
"Oh my
back
god!"
to her
Instead
criteria
of
on-
listening to the understanding the context in which
Right.
it was done.
Right,
Exactly.
right. So my question is, do you believe that people really understand the impact of what they're doing with this cancel culture, or is it easy because they're disconnected from it because of social media? I can just be upset about something and not really think about the real life implication for you. You could say something about bald-headed women, and because I have a bald head and I get sensitive about it, which I would never, because I don't care, never had a problem with a man, and I'm bald as a Christmas turkey, okay? But the point that I'm making is, you, hypothetically speaking, you can crack a joke about bald-headed people. It was just a joke.
Right.
You are a comedian. Jokes is what you do. I get upset about it, and I get with this collective of bald-headed women and just angry women, period. And we start this cancel Larry Lancaster. And my whole thing is, do people that actually do this really understand the real life
lot of times they
implications
don't,
of it?
no.
Or is it just easy to be like,
I think a lot of people, they don't care. Some people have been given, it's like people who've been given power and don't understand how to use it.
right?
They don't really care. But it depends. Some people get offended without really understanding why they're offended.
People don't
Or they
have
just
things,
want
yo.
to cancel somebody just to do it. Like what happened with Kevin Hart.
And Dave Chappelle
I
too.
was going to talk about that. What did you think about that situation? Because now we have a situation that I believe is turning into bullying. Somebody gets an opportunity, and it usually happens to black people. A black person gets an opportunity of a lifetime. Like, think about this. That was like a game changer for Kevin Hart to be booked to host the Oscars.
So this is for his tweet
Pardon
years
me.
ago.
I think, I'm gonna say this, and this is crazy, because I think anytime you say anything about the gay community, it is like they are gonna rain down havoc.
Yeah.
And not everybody always, and not everyone agrees with that lifestyle, and that's fine. Like, just, like, you don't have to be heterosexual, you don't have to be homosexual, you don't, like, whatever it is, like, that's someone's preference. And if they said it in the past and they really didn't understand that what the statement that they were making was that derogatory. Like, I can call my gay homeboys the F word all the time. They call me the F word.
Right.
And it's fine. But I understand now where 10 years ago, I didn't understand, like, saying that was so offensive because, you know, nobody was offended. My friends aren't offended. We go back and forth all the time.
Right.
With it. And so I think that it's unfair to hold anybody, to something that they have completely changed from and haven't done in umpteen years without anyone having to tell them, but just by their own example and what they're learning and seeing in the world and how the world is changing. So I think that sometimes cancel culture in instances like that,
it becomes
just
bullying.
so unfair. People don't know what they're doing. They are using power unfairly and unknowingly, ignorantly, just trying to have something. They just want to be included in what's going on and really have no knowledge of what the real issue is.
That's what we're trying to get at.
I think that in that case, and specifically with the LGBTQ community, there are two factions. There are the everyday gay people who just want to live their lives, be left alone, and that's that. And then there's a power structure with that as well. And I think the power structure with the LGBTQ community doesn't always coincide with the average everyday gay person.
Okay.
I think one has another agenda.
There's a political agenda, and
right,
then there's everyday life.
And then there's everyday life. Like she just said,
community.
well, her friends, the people that she knows, they understand what her intent was when she says certain things, and they have a connection where they understand that she's not being hurtful. And then there's the power structure who are pushing an agenda. And I think if whatever you say doesn't coincide with their agenda, then they're going to go after you. The same way I think the Jewish community does. I think if it doesn't line up with their Jewish interests, then they'll label you anti-Semitic. They won't necessarily say whether it's right or wrong or if it's true or false. They'll just say anti-Semitic because it doesn't line up with my Jewish interests. And I think the gay power structure does the same thing. If this doesn't line up with our interests and with our agenda, then we'll label you homophobic. And that's not always fair.
Right, and I just feel that it gets to a point where it becomes bullying. And the reason that I say that is because nobody dug those tweets up until that man got that opportunity for the Oscars. You went 10 years deep into his Twitter history.
Right.
Like, who has the time for that shit?
I was gonna say that.
Right.
You went 10 years deep into his Twitter history to find something and take it out of context. Like, think about this. Like, it was completely and totally malicious for the simple fact that at the time that he cracked those jokes 10 years ago, they were in context and were not offensive from a societal standpoint. From a general societal standpoint, at the time that he tweeted that stuff, it was acceptable. Had he said that in 2019, in 2018, then that would be different, but he didn't. So to pull something from the past and place it in today's context is problematic for me.
But I want to get back to your point about, do people understand the implications of canceling
Please.
culture, okay? And people don't. And you know why? Because the power of a hashtag.
Yes.
You look on your phone, you see a trending hashtag, and it just makes you pissed. You might not even know about the topic.
And you just
and you repost and you retag and you rehashtag, not knowing that you doing that, you're building momentum towards something that could harm someone, that could affect someone's future.
But I don't know if Kevin was canceled by gay people. He was canceled by the power structure of gay people.
And it was powerful enough to make him not hostile.
So it was a distinction there. And but again, just like the Jewish community, they've infiltrated all entertainment. So if you offend the LGBTQ community, you're talking about writers, directors, producers, costume set designers. They're all encompassing in that. And again, it's bullying because they have the power and they abuse the power.
But I think let me say this. I think that it's like, let's go back to Kevin Hart, right? What he said 10 years ago. What he said 10 years ago, I guess people feel like that's what he still feel inside. That's the character of the person.
But feelings aren't facts.
And it was
and it can change. You grow as a person, you evolve, things change, you're more open to stuff, we become more knowledgeable. So you can't judge me on that person that I was 10 years ago. I am a different person now. I've grown, I've matured, I'm older, I'm wise, I've been through some things. So how can you cancel me
But I
for
will say
who I was when I was 5? Let's just say I was 5
I feel you.
and I did something. You know, you grow each year and you turn into a different person. Like people say, if you knew me 15 years ago, you don't know me now. I'm not that person. I'm not the crackhead I used to be. I'm a preacher now. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I wouldn't do the things I did then because my life is different and I'm moving different and accordingly now.
Okay, the play devil's
Paula was going to say something though. I want to let Paula make her statement, and then we'll go to you,
I was
Larry.
just gonna say that I agree that with you when you said like it wasn't something that he did in 2019, 2020. It's something that he did 10 years ago, and I was gonna go and make the comparison though with what's his name, Kramer from Seinfeld.
He got canceled.
And one of his stand-up comedy.
He sure did.
The Laugh Factory guy.
He sure did.
He ain't had a job since.
He hasn't.
That's true.
But I think that, and personally, I mean, I think he was wrong, but I think he was trying to have a Dave Chappelle moment. And I'm a Kramer fan, but like, you know, Dave Chappelle will say honky or cracker or whatever, and I think Kramer decided to test the waters and say the N-word, and then he was canceled. And I think the difference with Kevin Hart is he saw how things was changing, and he decided to make that change in himself. And like you said, it was extremely malicious for someone to go back so far into his history
10 years.
just to say, oh, he doesn't like this. And I mean, it's so many people that don't like gay people, that don't like Jewish people, that don't like black people, but pretend just because they're trying to stay ahead so that they don't get canceled. And I just think that people put so much emphasis on counseling somebody else. And almost I feel like, mind your business.
I think with Kramer,
Like
he from what I understand,
His
he got
context is
angry.
different. He got angry.
So he wasn't trying to like say it in a joke or whatever. Not that it would have made it
What
any
was his
better.
remark?
But
He got
what
angry
happened
with
was
the
he
heckler.
got heckled. He wasn't doing well, and someone heckled him. And so what happened was it was a black person, obviously, and he started just going off with like a barrage of niggas, right?
Okay.
And so he was nigga, whatever. He's in his
He
tirade.
missed it.
And then what happened was he was able to leave the club, come back the next night, and was allowed to perform again.
Wow.
So, and the thing with Kevin Hart, I think here's what, just to, again, please, that was advocate with that. I think because Kevin said something about hurting someone because they were gay, even though it was a joke.
Yeah, it was a
I
sign.
think that was the difference.
Yeah.
When you, because I think the gay power structure looks at it this way. We've had people beaten up and hurt because they were gay. So if anybody says anything even close to that or remotely in that vein, then you're gonna feel backlash. So even though he was saying, I would take the dollhouse and break, that's still physically hurting your son because he was gay. Same thing with Tracy Morgan. Tracy said, if my son came in the house and he was gay, I would stab the little nigga with a knife. So whenever you say something like that, I don't think it's always just a gay joke. I think if you say anything about physically hurting someone because they're gay, even if we understand the context or we know it's a joke, and that's the other thing that will get you canceled. If people think it's mean spirit.
Yes.
Right.
All right. So, yes, the number, please. Alrighty, I don't know, every single week, this is the running joke, every single week I struggle with the number. I think like I need a sign put right in front of or right behind the camera so I can just read it. So somebody in the production team, I need the sign next week. The number to call, because you really are truly a part of this conversation, and we would love to hear from you in real time. The number to call is 410-822-FREE, because I'm free, damn it, yes. 410-822-FREE or 410-822-3733. That is the number to call. So you mentioned earlier on that cancel culture isn't new, that, you know, from the beginning of time, you know, as long as we've had celebrities, we've had people who have gotten canceled for certain things. But I think that the Me Too movement was the first time that we saw the power of cancel culture or canceling becoming a true culture. Like previously we've had individuals that have been canceled for different things, but it became a movement with the Me Too movement. And that movement mesmerizes me, okay? That movement interests me so much, and I would really like to hear from each and every one of you to what you think about the movement.
Well, first, I think people have gotten canceled there was two ways to get canceled. First, you can get canceled by the power structure, which is basically blackballed. And then that's the beauty of being canceled, because it's giving power to people that really never had power before. But when they collectively use it, like it takes a certain amount of people to do it for it to be effective. And so the Me Too movement, these were women who basically were powerless. And that's why the things that were done to them, because they didn't have the power. And then as a collective unit, they got together and were able to make change because of the numbers. So I have mixed feelings about the Me Too movement. First of all, I don't think any man should be able to use his power to sexually take advantage of a woman. Even if a woman consents, it's still, if you're in a position of power and y'all not like on a date, right? And y'all see each other consistently, let's say, like a lot of these women, they did what they had to do to make it. It wasn't always somebody like forced themselves on them. Or they just weighed the options and was like, look, if I don't have sex with them, I won't work. So if you use it in that particular instance, I think it's wrong. Even if the woman decides she's making a choice. Because that's not a choice you should give anybody.
Choice because of the way
work
how it
or not
out.
work. That's not a choice.
Right.
It's like saying slavery was a choice. Either pick the cotton or die. That's not a choice. So and so, but there are people who hijacked the movement like everything else, and they've used it for their own malicious
intent.
What
I was going to say is that
this is happening.
What I was going to say is that the Me Too movement, I think what falls under the umbrella has become too broad. And I think we need to get back to what it specifically was created to do.
Right.
And that's just my take on it.
They're taken over by white feminists who also have an agenda.
But that's what I was going to actually say what Alee just said. I think it's too broad, but it's all in, I believe, it's kind of like a respect thing, how you make the person feel. And that's what remember, and or what you did to them or what your intentions were. Like, let's just say when I first started comedy, or a few years ago, right? I had this guy, you know, as an upcoming comedian, you go to open mics and you go to comedy clubs and you meet comedians. And I had a comedian say to me, hey, you know, you're a new comedian, you're trying to get seen, you know, you have a good time with me, I could put you on 12 shows. That killed me. When I tell you that killed me, and I went and told everybody about it because I couldn't believe it happened to me. I've heard stories about people say, oh, you gotta fuck to get on stage, or oh, you gotta fuck to be, you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, that's never happened to me. And people would ask me, and when it happened to me, I'm like, wow, you didn't even get a chance to see if I was funny. You didn't even get a chance to, you know what I mean? So with the Me Too movement, what you said, Larry, as far as they didn't have to do it, but it's a choice whereas if you work or you don't work, I think that's where women become like, you know, this is the person that could put me in a position. Nobody else is offering me anything, and then everywhere I turn, they're offering me this for that. It's a way for you to get what you want from women. So, and
because of the social shift, if he was to do that now,
Paula speak on this because you've been in the game a very long time, so I know you've seen some things.
Self-respect goes such a long way. And I remember I was 16 years old. All I could do was look on the back of a CD cover and look for numbers, and I would call the labels physically. I would run up my mother phone bill, I go to my friend's house, run up their phone bill, call in New York, you know, straight. Singing on every last A&R's voicemail that I could possibly sing on.
Oh, that's right.
I would sing, I can't get off my hopes, and I can't let you go. And I would sing that, and then I would be like, my name is Paula Campbell, and my number is such, 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 such. If you like what you heard, call me back.
I'm not mad, sis. I ain't mad.
I like it.
An A&R that was at Bad Boy at the time called me. I was 16 years old. Like, send me some pictures. I didn't have pictures. I sent prom pictures. I had went to somebody's prom the year before. I sent prom pictures, mailed them. And he called me back, and he said to me, like, you know, I could do this. I'm going to get you in front of puppies, such, 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 and such. I'm a 16-year-old little girl talking for myself. I really didn't have a lot of family or support like that. And he said, well, what you want to do for me? I was 16. Wow. I knew better then, and I said, that's when, you know, the whole slang, like, I don't get down like that. So that's what I said, and I hung up. And being in this industry, I can tell you that I've turned down men, women, and adolescents. And adolescents with too much power because of my own self-respect and my own self-worth. So here's the thing. We can talk about industry and say you don't have a choice, but you do. I understand being in an uncomfortable position and really wanting to get a leg up. Not literally, sorry.
Right.
Speaking. But trying to get ahead. But at the end of the day, what is your self-worth? And I think that sometimes we have to bite the bullet and decide not to do what seems to be the easiest. And one thing that I live by is God give it, God take it away. So it's nothing that any man can do for me that can make me devalue myself and make me feel less than for me to get ahead. And I think that there are not a lot of strong minds in the industry because they're desperate for not success really, but for fame.
Right. I think everybody isn't strong. So like, I'm tough as nails. I've been hit with everything you just spoke about, Paula, and it was not happening with me. And mine came with a couple of curse words, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think I am, whatever. But everybody is not strong. So I can't necessarily judge those that did what they felt they had to do because they felt powerless, because everybody wasn't raised the way we were raised. Everybody did not have certain things poured into them, and certain people are just born with certain makeups. You know what I'm saying? So I really can't judge that. But I will say I watched the Me Too movement. I'm a person that looks at nuances. I look at everything. And it started out, I believe, as most things do, with really good intentions. But I believe that at some point it snowballed into a witch hunt. And when it became a witch hunt, I did not like what I saw because, and I am not victim blaming, I am not victim shaming, I am pro-victim, but at some point a person deserves due process. So just because somebody sends a tweet and somebody else follows it up does not give the industry or the powers that be the right to just take somebody's whole career away. Like, okay, if this person did that, take it to court. Take it to court, let the process play out legally, and let's see what happens. But it became something that was scary to me because if it can be me too, it could be he too, it can be whatever, you know what I'm saying? And when I look at things like that, I look at the worst case scenario of this could happen to me in a whole nother scenario. Not saying that I've sexually assaulted anyone or I've abused power because I haven't, but if they can do this about this, they can do this about anything. You know? Because
there's two things. First of all, I agree with Paula, but even when I said I didn't mean it wasn't a choice. What I mean is no man should put a woman in that situation where she has to make that choice. And so even though you can say no or you can say yeah, that's still not a place to be in, and no man should be able to do that, or no person, period.
No person, because there's a lot of women doing
a lot of women press down on people too. The other thing is, I think when that shift happened, and there was a balance of power, and people do what most people do once they're in the driver's seat and they have the power. They abuse the power. So the same, just like men abuse the power when they had it, once it became relevant that once your name came up on the list, like these guys didn't even fight it; they was just done. So they might have had a few lukewarm denials. But once your name came up on the list, it was almost like, oh shit, they got him too. And so a lot of those guys deserved it. I think about 90-95% of those guys, because they had operated with impunity for so many years, they were sloppy. And so they just felt like their day would never come, which made it easier to catch them once somebody finally gave a fuck. The other thing is that there were some people, like I forgot the guy, he was an Indian comic. He had consensual sex with a chick, and then she decided, because I guess he was lame in bed or whatever,
that she was gonna
she like ruined him. Now that shit like that is just not cool. I forgot his name. I think it's Aziz or something like that. But he had consensual.
Aziz Ansari. All right, there we go.
Yeah, he had sex with a young lady, and then she was saying, well, he should have been able to tell by my body language that I meant no. Like, what kind of bullshit is that?
Just say no, honey.
Right, and what happens is once you do stuff like that, you make it really tough for women who really are sexually assaulted.
Yes.
And so you never want to muddy the waters like that.
Right. You do, but you know what? I'm going to say this as a woman, and I'm sure that you three ladies may have experienced this too. You're with a guy, you're having a good time, you kissing, you say no. He still continue to touch you or do whatever, you say no. everything progressed. You say no, but he still keep going, and now you feel like I'm here in this position. I'm just gonna let it happen. This is too much.
I ain't never felt like that.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna say.
I'm the aggressor, honey. You know
No, this
what
is
I
what I'm
mean?
gonna say.
I'm
And
the
then when I say this, hold on, listen. When I say this, I'm not saying with a complete stranger. I'm saying this even with someone that you've dealt with before, and you're like, I'm over you, and I'm speaking from an experience of I'm over you. We're done. I don't want to do this. But you're steady trying to push yourself on me like, no, we had this, we had that. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't. But because he's been with you before, you just let it happen.
He feels like he has a right to
Right. You never experienced that before?
I definitely have experienced that many years ago, but I definitely
But
have.
no mean no. And so I'm saying that to say you feel some type of way after.
But do you feel like that equates to a sexual
like,
assault or a rape?
But I feel like I said no though. Why didn't you just leave me alone? Because I really didn't want to do it. Do you understand what I'm saying, Paula? I didn't want to do it.
It kind of is like rape.
can't relate to that one.
I've experienced and I've felt it before.
You feel like shit. This like I said no.
I said no, and you just kept pushing,
in a
kept
way where
pushing.
you might not be kissing, but because they feel like a lot of times, and I find this very true just in conversation with my exes now. They be like, you know, you always gonna be my nigga. No,
And no, I'm not. Right. And
No,
it's
I'm
happened.
not. You know, like
I can't
when
believe
That's
y'all
just
didn't experience that.
conversation for me. Like,
done.
of course, I've had men that won't give up. That's all right. You know what I'm saying? Because and I've never felt pressure to do something that I don't want to do. And much like you, like my first time having sex, it was my idea. I was like, all right, boo, look, I'm going to cut school. My mama not going to be home. You going to come over. I remember the day. I remember my outfit. I had on my little blue jeans, my dirty bucks, my little itchy wool
Well,
sweater.
they're gonna be the day.
And yes,
Oh, you
I was
better
like,
right.
I was like, today is the day. Tonight's the night. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I wanted to have sex, but I was still like body conscious.
Yeah.
So I didn't take my wool sweater off. I took everything off except the sweater. And he was so gentle. He was like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? I was like, yes, come on, like let's do this. So as a person that understands, and I've always understood that I have complete and total autonomy over my body, I have never felt pressure to have sex with anybody. A person that I've already had sex with, a person that I've never had sex with. If I say no, nigga, it's no. You know what I'm saying? So I've never felt,
I felt the pressure. I have.
Yeah, it
And you
sound like
haven't
you
either,
almost.
Allie?
It sound like you just said, all right, nigga, damn. Like,
right, that's what I'm
but
talking about.
but that's what I'm trying to say. Tell you that is what happened, but I did not mean it. I did not feel that. That's not what I wanted to do. I just gave up. Like it was just one of those things. Like I felt that way before.
Let me
like,
say this: as a girl, as a woman who the first time, I mean, I wrote it in my book, but so y'all can read more about it. Not that book, but my memoir when I put it out. The first time I remember being touched. I was 4 years old.
okay.
Wow.
A lot, and so many times over the years, it happened as a child before I even hit 13. Literally, I can probably count 8 times that I remember.
Wow.
And I used to think that in my younger years that it doesn't matter what a woman says, it doesn't matter what a woman thinks. And I also felt like men only looked at women as sexual objects. I was extremely insecure, even well into my 20s. So I think what Tiana, like for me, when she says
Because I share those experiences with you.
Like that, there was a fear and a lack of self-worth because I felt like, not anybody else, that it was going to happen anyway.
Right.
Like it happened so many times already. Nobody was there to protect me. So I think that so many women experience that because keep in mind, most women don't talk about rape and molestation and the things that they feel and the insecurities that come along with that. So I think that a lot of times those things happen and it's not consensual, but it's consensual because of a fear of
it's going to happen anyway.
That may come if you don't get into it.
And I think that's where, and we are so off topic, but that's okay because this is my show. Ain't nobody telling me what to do. I'm getting the wrap up sign, but we're going to keep going for a couple more minutes because I really think that this portion of the conversation is very, very important. And I think that that's where conversations of like about sex and conversations that mothers have with their daughters are so very important. When I tell you growing up, my mom told me about sex, like the birds and the bees, the way this stuff really works. It wasn't no stork, it wasn't none of that. Like, she had a health book. She opened up like at the age of 4. She was showing me what sexually transmitted diseases look like. Yes, she told me the story of how sex works. She told me that it was something that was supposed to happen between two people that care about each other, who are ready, and that the purpose of sex was procreation. And because I'm not even able to have a baby yet, I should not be having sex. She was like, look, if somebody touch you, I don't care who it is. She was like, it could be your daddy, it could be your granddaddy, it could be your cousin. She was like, if anybody touches you, you come tell me. You will not get in trouble. They will not do anything to you. Like, she had this conversation from the time I was 4 to the time that I was like 12. And as I got older, the conversation got more advanced. She was like, okay, so look, you starting to talk on the phone to little boys starting to like you. They're going to tell you that if you don't have sex with them, they're going to get something called blue balls. She was like, blue balls don't exist. It's a lie. Don't you believe it? like mama, well, she had those real conversations, and she put it down. And she even told me, she was like, when you do have sex, because that day is going to come, and it may come before I'm ready for it. She was like, when you do have sex, she was like, I need you to tell me. She was like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to whip your ass, because I got ass whoopings growing up, and I'm thankful for them. She was like, I'm not going to whip your ass. I'm not going to kill you, but I need you to tell me so I can protect you and help you do it responsibly. So I think that the reason I was so vocal and the reason that I was the way I was because of the conversations that she had with me. So I was like, ain't nobody touching. Like, I would be the last little girl somebody would touch, because they knew I had a big ass mouth, and I was going to tell my mama. You know what I'm saying?
So she empowered you at an early age.
She empowered me,
and let you know that your voice mattered. And again, I like to say that, like, men need to have those conversations with their sons.
With their sons, yes.
But again, because of a lot of situations where this is not happening, or, you know, we have absenteeism, you know, absentee death. But these conversations need to be had. You need to tell boys how to respect women. They're not just sexual objects. And, you know, that same conversation, the same way your mom had with you, that needs to be an opposite and equal conversation on the other end. And also telling girls that their voice matters. Like, but that's what I meant, Paula, when I said no man should put a woman to have to make that choice. You know what I mean? Like, you know when a woman really telling you, like, come on, man. You know it in your heart, you know. I've been in that situation where, you know, things were getting hot and heavy, and she was like, and then you like, nah, she really want me to just be a little bit more aggressive. And you was like, something in your mindset, yo, you wrong, yo, stop.
Right.
And then you gotta do it. Because I wouldn't want anything done to this woman that I wouldn't want to any other woman. Or any woman that I care about, my daughter, my mom, my grandmother, whoever.
I have 3 devices. And my producers are going to kill me. They are giving me the wrap-up sign. I do want to incorporate one comment. We have JJ Twin, who checked in, and he said, if someone says no, they mean no. And he did the capital N-O. You are absolutely right. Thank you so much for weighing in, JJ. And before we go, we do have to do a very special tribute. There are 2 people that were indirectly associated with the show, and they meant a lot to some of the cast members, well, not cast members, but some of the technical crew and everything. And I do have to say, rest in peace to Danielle Bella, this last name, Tavakole? No, tell me what it is. Tavosky, okay. Danielle Bella Tavosky. She was a bartender at the game, so if you ever ate, drank, or partied at the game, I'm sure you saw her. She was wonderful. She was very friendly. She always made sure that everybody was good. A very pleasant person and a great spirit. She had the accident on 695 that was, you know, on the news and everything. So she is gone, but she is definitely not forgotten, and she is loved by very, very many. So condolences and prayers goes out to Bella's family. Also, last but not least, we have Felicia Padilla. Felicia Padilla, she was the mom of our technical director, Jason Rodriguez, and she passed away recently as well. She is gone, she is not forgotten. A very, very accomplished woman, a self-made millionaire, an Afro-Latina, and she was loved very, very, very much. And I'm very, very thankful to Jason for even being here. We did not have the show last week, and that's the reason that we did not have the show last week, because Jason had to tend to family. And I'm so very thankful that you are taking the time to still be here today, and that you have the strength to do so. So thank you so very much. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much to Paula Campbell. Thank you so much to my girl, Tiana Douglas. Thank you so very much to Larry Lancaster. And thank you to my girl, Alee Opuiyo. I finally got it right, y'all. We love you. We'll see you next week. And look, we need you to like this. We need you to share it. That is how these amazing conversations go viral. Don't just share people that are already viral. You told me that you missed me. You told me you want to see me. You told me you want to hear me. Prove it, boo cakes, all right? I need you to hit that like button. I need you to hit that share button. Let's do this. Ego. Or nah, and after that I'm gonna let y'all go.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
All right.
You.
We gonna wait till the music.
I was saying, I was your mom. Miss Felicia. Yeah.
All right, y'all. After the show, it's the after party, and we are going to play a game. All right. Games are fun, right? This game is called Cancel or Nah. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna name a couple of people, and you tell me if you think they should be canceled or nah. And if you have the interest, you can tell me why. All right. Candace Owens.
Yes.
Cancel?
Cancel.
Yes.
What about you, Paula? Cancel,
Most
Candace,
definitely.
or no?
I can hear you, but I can't. The music.
Can we turn the music off? So